Hi everyone, welcome back. It's Laura over here at Hyperstamper. I just finished today's antique junk journal and I have another one of these wee whiffy or wifey, I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm going to say whiffy. That's a little bit older than this one, but this is from the very early 1900s. It's got the original first pages in it. But I love this particular cover. It's very different than other ones I've seen. This beautiful Victorian lady on the cover here with her umbrella and this wicker chair. It's stunning. And it's got these beautiful slate grays and rose pinks and green colors. So I've chosen ribbons and trim that match that cover very nicely. And I love that it's all in one piece. I had to do a little bit of repair here, so I covered it with that trim. But let me show you the inside. That is just one page after the other of authentic, antique, and vintage ephemera. No commercial pieces in here. So again, those are the first original pages there. So this is about 120 years old, this book. And then I've got an authentic 1950s bingo card there. And I made this pocket here out of a vintage recipe book page, which I think is kind of fun. And that's a vintage doily piece there. And this is this is actually an antique book page here, and I just love the colors on it, and I put antique paper on front and back. And all of this is mounted onto an antique postcard album page that you can journal on or add to there as well. Then I put this little pocket here made out of a page from the 1890s, and this is a vintage edu card, and it's the Z for zebra. And then I've got an unused recipe card there, also vintage. This is really cool. I just got this on a road trip I went on, and this is a beautiful little scenery photograph from August of 1947. Isn't that beautiful? So almost 80 years old. I love it. Made a little pocket there out of antique ephemera. And then I made this little booklet out of my cutoffs and added some nice little bits and pieces there. So a little mini journal there. And then this is a wonderful piece from the 1930s. Look at this. You can tell how old it is by how different Mickey Mouse looks, but I just love it. And some wonderful child has sort of added pencil marks in there, which they often did. Even a sweet little picture on the back there. And that is from Children's Garden of Verses, believe it or not. And there is Bed in Summer from the early 1900s. And this is from my vintage Raggedy Ann book. I pulled that from a 1927 catalog. I think it's beautiful. And there's another 1940s work page and a vintage children's book page. And this is from the early 1900s as well. Look at this beautiful ruby-throated hummingbird. She's lovely. And then this triple pocket here made out of a 1950s stamp collector's book page. And look at this fun piece here. Isn't that fun? And that is from the 1950s. Also from the 1950s here is this knitting book page. Look at these cuties. I would kill. Look at this sweater. Oh my God, it's so cute with the fringe on it. Just adorable. Scotty cardigan for little boys, honestly. And then this here is from the 1920s. The color supports. Here, isn't that neat? They've actually got some value, these. And very sweet notion. And then this is from the 1930s, a student's workbook page. Another stamp collector page, another 1950s Pearl Shop receipt. And this here is from a vintage magazine. And then this here, I got a little bit of glue on this. I can pull it out. There we go. This is from a 1968 Funny Bones game. So that's also vintage. Isn't that fun? So you can, what I would do if I were you is add either a nice image here or some layers of journaling paper and turn it into a little booklet. But I'm leaving that up to the new owner. Vintage Monopoly money here. Actually, one piece is antique. And yeah, look at that. Journal on the back. Why not? Just fun, 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 fun. I love these ideas. And then just really fun advertisements here from that vintage magazine page and more students' work. This is really special. Look at this beautiful postcard to greet you. And this one here is from 1912. Isn't that beautiful? I really think that's special. I've had it for a long time. And again, it's time to let somebody else love it. This is from a 1920s Botanical book. I'm having trouble opening it, but look at these beautiful daisies. I often get asked for daisy images, so there's one there. And then this is another vintage book, just a little plate there from a book, but you can journal on the back as well. And a 1936 Paris, France Almanac, double page here. And this is, it's cool because this one is just as, I believe, as the war was starting. So it's got some cool images here and over here. Really neat. Historic pieces. This is a beautiful little bird page from a children's book from the 30s. I love this. That came from a title. I got about 7 of them because there's 7 pages in the chapter. Another children's book page, a vintage ledger sheet, 1950s crochet book page, and this is an antique book cover that was unusable, so I turned it into journaling tags. And then this is a 1950s Black Beauty page, and I turned it into a little journaling space as well. This is really cool from the early 1900s, capturing on camera a thunderstorm, which is pretty spectacular. And then another wonderful 1920s children's book page pocket here. And this is a vintage, I love the photography in some of these old vintage recipe books, but look how fun that is. A pretty breakfast table. That's actually not bad. It actually looks quite appetizing. Some of them not so much. Not so much. And this is just another great little mostly blank page from the vintage book for journaling. Always add your own pages too to make it your own. There's lots of room for you to add to and put extra pockets in. More vintage children's book page. This is really cool. I just got this. This was a little bag. These were vintage from the, I want to say from the 70s or early 80s it could be. And they're just little bits that you would have put in a scrapbook, and not the kind of scrapbooking we do now, but earlier than that. And they're bells and doves. So I thought it was really sweet. So anyways, you're going to see those coming up in my journals quite a bit because there's so many of them. And there's just another great little journaling spot from a student's workbook from the 40s. Another vintage music sheet there, Kaboozleum. This is just a fun little envelope here from a trip to, I think this one is Spain maybe. That's kind of fun. Great clusters here. That came from an 1800s book there. And then this is beautiful from the 1920s. It could actually even be earlier, but isn't that sweet? The paper doll on one side, and they were huge on balloons and bubbles in the early 1900s. Children's Garden of Verses book page here. More children's book pages. And then this is a stunning, beautiful little corner garden piece here from the early 1900s. Journal on the back of that. And there's a 1930s flinch card. You can change out the number just by requesting it at checkout. And a waterfall journaling space here. And I love this from 1950s yearbook, university yearbook. This is obviously the nurse's course. Look at the hats. They're really unique. I like them. Different than the ones you're used to. And that is the original end page of this book. So I hope you love it as much as I loved making it. Come back soon, but if you want to look at this and the rest of my journals, go to hyperstamper.etsy.com. Don't forget to subscribe. Bye for now.